Good morning, guys. It's Saturday. What am I doing? What am I doing on this side? What am I doing here? It seems to be all change here today. I was just at Hobby Maker about 12 hours ago. Don't talk about the fact that I got on at 3 in the morning because there was a couple of accidents in traffic. Thankfully, everyone was okay. But yeah, it was a little bit of an early morning when I got home. But do you know what? It's Saturday, the sun's starting to come out, and you've got me on this side. Actually, you've got me on this side for most of the month, not next Saturday, because I'm going home to doggy sit Clemmy for the whole weekend, which I'm really looking forward to, and then you'll have me here for the remaining Saturday. So it's going to be really nice, but today, starting off with, of course, the craft along, but who am I with? Well, you can't say Saturday in Crafters TV without this girl's name, and she's here joining me today, and it's going to be a lovely day. Lily's back with a craft along, Lily.
Here on a Saturday, I think people would be, quite frankly, be panicking, wouldn't they? So don't you worry, I am here all day. Very much looking forward to working with Craig. So I was thinking, Craig, I think the last time we worked together in this capacity anyway, we see each other all the time around the building, but I think it was December.
Really?
I think it was December. We did a few pre-records for Christmas, and I believe...
That's right.
I think it was the last time we worked together. So it's a rare occasion. We say it's a rare occasion. It will be happening plenty of time over the coming months. But we have got a craft along starting off a few guys today on this Saturday. And we are going to be working with this beautiful Celebrate the Good Times collection to create this pop-out style card. So using that trophy, something really fun, really bold, really bright to hopefully brighten up your Saturday. So this is what we're going to be creating today. And it does actually all fold down flat for posting as well. So you've got that lovely pop-out element with this particular project. But if you're wanting to recreate this card that we're doing today, then I'm going to give you the materials list. So this is exactly what you're going to need to get started with this project. So first up, you're going to need from your Celebrate the Good Times collection, you'll need your bunting die set, your medal die set, trophy die set, your stitched alphabet and numbers die sets, you did it stamp set, and that 6x6 inch paper pad. You'll also need a set of your oval nesting dies. You'll need a star punch, your noir black alcohol proof ink pad. Then you're also going to need your Gemini 2 die cutting machine, your white cardstock, your Halloween and Fall A5 mirror card pack, guillotine, Scoremaster scoreboard, stencil and stamp platform, your scissors, pokey tool, all-purpose and tacky glues, your red liner tape, your low-tack tape and your foam pads. And that's everything you're going to need to get started and create this project.
Awesome, that's great, Lily. Thank you so much for that. Just before we get started, what I do just want to let you know right now, of course, is we have seen all of the questions that have been coming through regarding the new tax tariffs. Just to let you know, of course, for you guys stateside, there will be a message coming from Sarah just later on. So we have seen them, it will be addressed. We will address it just shortly within the day. So wanted to let you know that right now before we can then delve in to, of course, that nice, relaxing craft along. It's all about celebrate the times. Now, I always just kind of then add in that celebrate the good times, but either way, it's all about celebrating good times that you will find across on our website, whether, of course, it's .co.uk, or .eu. Such a lovely array of stamps, dies, papers here for you to work it in with all of your different occasions. Now, when it comes to these, you've got fun medals, you've got cool alphabets, you've got brilliant numbers in there, you've got your trophy in there, you've got the bunting in there, you've just got a nice mix here. Also, be able to extend that out and get creative and then use it in with all of your other Celebrate the Good Times ranges that you've got. Now, within these ones here, all of these ones as well, because I have tried them, we'll just go through your Gemini Mini, which is fab as well. But you've got that across on the website. Should you care to pop it into your basket, of course, once you've checked out in that, you will get your Club Inspire as well. Just before we delve in, we have got, well, we've got both Rachel and Jan in the socials here. Trudy's in saying she's in from Central Florida. We've got Charlotte Clark who's saying good morning. Craig, Lily, CCT Community, Warehouse and all the crafters. We have got Jamie in the gallery as well, this is kind of like his Saturday day. He loves a good Saturday. Also, not only have you got me in here, Big Pop's in the building. Woo! Big Pop is in the building, you know, trouble's coming. He's already told us that there was an email earlier on that went out saying that we weren't to work together anymore, but hey-ho, this Saturday we are. I'm hoping he's joking on that one there. Yeah, of course he's joking. Crafty Stacey Lou saying, hello crafters. The amazing Lily and Craig and the CCTV crew. We've also got Michelle Harris saying good morning. Daisy saying good morning from Kentucky. It's 7 a.m. On Derby Saturday. I think I'm addicted to Crafters TV. Well, aren't we all? Do you know what? It's a really nice way to spend a Saturday. Love it, chilled, relaxed, cup of tea, little bit of crafting. Who better to have the craft along, of course, than Lily? So I'm looking forward to this one. If you've never seen me on this side before when it comes to craft along, I tend to stay quiet because I know a lot of you love to follow along with Lily or whoever's crafting as instructions. However, any questions that are related to what Lily's doing or you need to ask something, fire them across to Rachel, Jan, and then I will jump in as and when that I need to. But Lily, I'm ready if you are.
I certainly am.
Let's do it.
A little peek behind the curtain there. As Craig was just talking to you guys, I realised as I was reading the list, I literally bolted it out of the chute. I'd realised
I thought she's gone.
I'd forgotten the oval nesting dies. So as soon as I was reading that list, I was like, oh no. So I had to go into our product library. I was thinking, where are they? Where are they? Luckily, I found them. I thought, if I can't find them in the library, what are we going to do? But luckily, we have now got everything we need. So,
Fab.
A little bit of getting the heart racing there on a Saturday afternoon. Not what we need, but let's calm things back down and start off our craft along. So to start with, we're actually going to create our card base. So I'm going to take my guillotine here, and I've just got a piece of our 12 by 12 inch white cardstock. You can get this over on the website. I use it an awful lot for actually creating my card bases. And all we're going to do with this one is we're just going to keep that length the same. So we're going to keep our 12-inch length with this one.
Okay.
And then we're just going to cut that width down to 6 1/4. So remembering with your guillotine, every single box or square you can see on there is 1/4 inch. So we find 6, and then 1/4 inch is just one box over our 6 line there. So we'll line that up, making sure it's nice and level against that line on that guillotine, and just trim down. This piece here we can save for using a little bit later on, and then this piece here, our 12-inch by 6 1/4, we're going to use that for our card base. So we bring in our scoreboard here, and I have to say, I don't know why this has been, Craig. I've been complaining every single Saturday, where's our scoremaster, and suddenly it's reappeared.
It's reappeared.
So it's back. Thank goodness for that. The
well, let's be
Scoremaster
fair,
is
it's only
back.
you that's been doing the Saturdays lately,
Well,
Lily, so it's you to blame.
Only myself to blame, but it's back. So here is our Scoremaster. You can use any scoreboard as long as it's 6 1/4 inch or larger. So your big score will work. If you've got your Ultimate Pro, you can use that. It's completely up to you. But using our Scoremaster here, and we're just going to score at 6 inches on there. So finding our 6 inch, and we're just going to score down. And as I always say when it comes to your scoring, rather than trying to score quite heavy to start with, we just score gently and just multiple times over that score line, just to build up a nice crease on that cardstock. So we move our Scoremaster out the way, making sure this doesn't go missing come next weekend. I'm sure it will, but like we say, I only got myself to blame with that one. So our card base we created
I would say I'm winding you up. Well, I am winding you up.
It's probably true though, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Let's be honest, yeah.
I'll have to make sure I don't leave any dirty dies around this time. Otherwise it'll end up on my desk this time.
Oh, yeah,
The legendary dirty die. I did clean it out, I promise, in case anyone was asking. Did definitely clean it out, but I won't be doing that again.
It's one of those things, obviously, we always know, like us, Lily, myself, and two Debbies and that, we take it as a laugh. But you know when you do it and you go home and you think,
oh dear.
Are they going to see that as a laugh? I hope Lily's all right with that.
Came in the next morning in floods of tears, absolutely. I can't believe Craig's done this to me. Don't worry, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I did just calmly just pick all the pieces out, but it gave me a giggle, the fact that he put the finished card next to it, and a little post-it note with a smiley face on it. So it did give me a little chuckle, but I won't be doing that again.
You were fine with it when you put a picture on Instagram story, and I was like, phew. She's all right.
Not. Hello, Craig. Just to address the card that I've found on that. Yeah, it was fine, but I won't be doing it again. Anyway, back to the crafting. So our card base that we created here is 6 inches by 6 1/4 with our card base. It's up to you whether you want to be creating this as a side fold or a tent fold. That choice is yours with this one. But for this one, we're going to create this as a side fold.
Okay.
Then for our mats and layers, we're actually bringing in some of our lovely mirror card. So I've dug out some of my older A5 mirror card packs. This one is actually the Halloween and fall that we're using for this one. I'm going to cut our mirror card down to 6 inches by 5 3/4. So we're just going to find our 6 inches on that long side there. So 6 inches by 5 3/4. And then that's going to fit nicely onto our card base, just like so. And then for our next layer down, we're going to cut some of that lovely pattern paper from that paper pad. We're going to cut this one down to 1/8 of an inch smaller. Now, when it comes to 1/8 of an inch, I always find it a lot easier to take that measurement that we've just taken, and then instead of trying to work out 1/8 of an inch, all I do is I take off half of one of those grids, because we know
that's a good idea.
A full grid's 1/4, so we know half is going to be 1/8. So it just makes it a little bit easier rather than going into like 3/8 of an inch, 7/8 and all that sort of thing. So we know the last layer we cut that down to 6 inches. So if we find 6 inches on there and then just move half a box down, we know that's going to be 1/8 of an inch smaller on that measurement there. Then all we're going to do for our other measurement, we'll find our 5 3/4, which is just what we've cut with the larger one, and then we'll just move half a box down, which is going to be 1/8 of an inch smaller, and then we'll just trim down on that side. If we bring back in our piece of mirror card, you can see there, they're going to fit together with that lovely, really thin border of that mirror card all around the outside. So we'll move that out of the way, and then we'll bring in our tape pen just for speed, but you could be using your tacky glue.
Okay.
Just with it being a coated cardstock, if you're going to use a wet adhesive, I'd definitely recommend your tacky glue rather than your all-purpose.
Got ya.
Your tape pen will work a treat. Double-sided tape will work nicely as well if you prefer using your double-sided tape. And we'll just hover over there, just making sure that's nice and central in the middle of that matting layer. Give that little burnish, and that's nicely stuck onto that mat there.
Perfect.
And that's just going to go onto our card base, just like so. So we'll bring in our tape pen. Because this is obviously the reverse of our cardstock here, we're not actually sticking onto the mirror. So if you did want to be using your wet glue, then your all-purpose would be fine for the reverse of your mirror card. It's just when you're sticking it onto that front side where it's got that coating on it. And then that's just going to go onto the centre of my card base, and that gives us all our mats and layers nice and simple in terms of the front. Now if you were wanting to decorate the inside, all I'd do is I'd do the same sort of mats and layers onto the inside, and then I'd probably pop a couple of these die cut ovals that are about to cut, or probably pop a couple of those onto the centre, just so you've got somewhere to write your message if you do like to decorate the middle of your cards as well. So that's the front done. So we'll move that out of the way. And we'll bring in the oval dies that I've just run and got from the library.
Honestly, I wish you could have seen what I seen there as Lily threw back to me after doing the list. She just bolted out. I thought she's gone. She's leaving me.
She's not coming back.
Yeah, she thought that email was true.
It was all because of you putting the die on the desk. I thought, you know what? I'm going to take my opportunity. I'm going to run off now.
She's not going to let me live that one down now, is she?
No, absolutely not. No. But yes, I did absolutely bolt it out the studio. I thought, I need to find these dies. I wasn't quite sure where they were going to be, to be perfectly honest with you, Craig. And there's a lot of boxes, as we know, there's a lot of boxes in that library, and I thought, oh my goodness, if I can't find these, they're going to be scuppered. But thankfully,
you done well.
They were
you done well.
Quite pleased with that, I have to say. But the dies have been rescued. If you do have any other shapes of nesting dice, if you don't have your ovals, you could be using something like a rectangle. That would work quite nicely. If you've got any of our older ones that we did quite a few years ago, these stitched edge, when we did some nice sort of label style shapes.
That's true.
Those will work quite nicely as well. Anything that's sort of like more long and thin rather than something that's kind of square or in equal proportions like a circle, something more like an oval sort of shape is going to work best in terms of the dimensions of your trophy. So what we've done is we've taken, if I count from the dies, it's going to be the 4th one from the outside is going to be the one that we're cutting from our mirror card.
Okay.
And then the 5th one from the outside we're doing from our white. And then it's the 7th, so we've stepped 1 extra down that we're going to cut from our white as well. So those two are sort of next to each other, and then that one's 1 down, if that sort of makes sense. And we're just going to tape those to our cardstock, and we're going to run those through the die cutting machine. And with these being quite basic nesting dies, we're just going to go in with our cutting plate. We'll go in with our frosted shim. We're going to remove our magnetic shim, just with them being quite basic nesting shapes. We don't need our magnetic shim, so we'll remove that, and then we'll pop our cutting plate over the top of there, just like so. And we'll cut those out, and we can start doing a little bit of matting and layering. This is why I love our nesting dies so much. It just makes your matting and layering easy.
Snap, yeah.
It's not so easy to cut out an oval by hand. I know we can cut squares and rectangles with our guillotines, with our trimmers, but it's so much easier with a nesting die.
Absolutely.
I know both of us absolutely love our nesting dies.
We do indeed.
We have been promised larger ones later in the year, so
we
are certainly waiting for those. But these are the ones that we actually launched last birthday, I do believe. I think it was you that launched them, was it, Craig?
Yeah.
With our stained glass nesting.
I have, I can honestly say I don't think I've ever kind of requested to do a launch, but if we do the large nesting dies, I think that is one I'm going to be, guys, can I launch those?
If I can put you on that launch, Craig, don't you worry, I certainly will.
Because as you said, I did launch these, but it was just the way a coincidence as it landed on that Saturday during birthday. But just like yourself, Lily, as people know, if you don't, I love simple, straight edge, plain edge nesting dies.
Absolutely. They're just, for me, they're just one of those essentials.
They are.
They just make everything so much easier, so much more sort of professional looking. And the difference for me, why I love a nesting die compared to sort of cutting stuff by hand or using a guillotine, with any sort of die cut, you have that lovely beveled edge.
Exactly.
So if you turn your die cut over, it looks a little bit rough, it doesn't look sort of as finished. Whereas on that right side, you've got that lovely beveled edge, it just gives it that really professional finish. It's even more prominent as well when you've got something like a mirror card. It really stands out on that. It's almost like you've sort of embossed that very edge, giving you a really, really nice
That's a really cool effect,
finish.
actually.
Doesn't it look
Yeah.
nice? It's something I've started doing a fair bit, so I'll have my sort of 2 next together sizes of nesting die, then I step one down from that same colour, but if you use your foam tape, which I'll bring in now, just to raise that up, it just adds that little bit more detail, a little bit more interest. And you know I do love a little bit of foam tape. So.
You do indeed. You like your tape, I like the pads.
See, yeah, I tend to use I tell you what I do like as well, I love the sheets, the foam pad sheets.
Foam, yeah.
They're really useful, I use those an awful lot. They're quite useful as well for shaker dies. If you actually die cut the foam itself, that works quite nicely.
It does it? Yeah, that's it. And I think a lot of people forget when it comes to the foam sheets, whether it's the A4 ones or we do have the A5 in that adhesive bundle, you can die cut them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Christmas shaker cards, I think they were called. We did a few years ago. There's like a little penguin. There was a little house.
Yeah.
I use them quite a lot with the foam sheets, and they work a treat. If you do struggle about making sure you've got enough foam all around the edge of shakers, then they're definitely one to go for. So just a little bit more foam on the back of here, just to get that nicely standing proud in the centre of your card. You can see it just sort of builds that dimension, builds that interest, even before we've added our elements, our toppers and our sentiments and everything else. It just starts to bring things to life a little bit more. So we're just going with our foam tape on the back of there. You can of course use your foam pads. I know we do some nice big chunky foam pads that will work quite nicely for that as well. But we'll just pop that into the centre of our card base just like so. So that's all those mats and layers ready to go. Then all we need to do is start to bring in some of our decorations. So we'll start off with our trophy. So we'll grab our trophy die set here. And I love the fact that with this one, you've not just got your trophy, you've got the little sort of plinth as well.
That's right,
so if you want to stand it up, then you can do. You could pop maybe a name on the plinth. That'd be quite nice as just a little finishing touch. And with our trophy die as well, if we have a look at the die itself, it actually has embossed as well as just die cut detail. So around the edge there, you can see that sort of raised, as we call it, a blade, but it's not sharp at all. You've got the raised blade around the edge. Then in the inner section here, we've got some areas that are actually going to give us that lovely embossed design. If I bring back in the one that we've already done, you can see on there, especially on the mirror card, you've got those lovely embossed elements. So I'll run this through and I'll show you how lovely they start to come to life when you die cut. So I'll grab a piece of this card here, our mirror card.
Sorry Lily, just while you were your die cutting that, Daisy is saying, is that the large guillotine that you were just using there? I like the extended ruler.
Good question, yes, it certainly was the large guillotine. It's just so easy to have that larger platform. I quite like making big cards or doing scrapbook pages, so having that extendable arm just makes it so much easier. So yeah, that was the large one. I'm not sure if it's in stock, we can hope. But if not, it will definitely be coming back soon.
Perfect.
Any more questions? Yeah, just get them fired over, Craig.
Fire them across and I'll fire them to Lily.
Absolutely, fab. So even without actually running that through on that embossing sandwich, we've just actually die cut this one. You can already see that embossed detail.
You can.
If perhaps on some of your other cardstocks, especially not your mirror card, if you can't see the embossed detail as well after just cutting it, just place your die cut back into that die, and then you're just going to run that through. I'm not sure if I've got one of the plates here, but we're using your raspberry shim. So you go in with your cutting plate first off, you'd have your raspberry rubber mat on there, and then you'd bring in your frosted shim and then your other cutting plate over the top. Just run that back through, and that's going to make sure that you get all that lovely embossed detail onto your die cut as well. But you can see there, we've got all that lovely detail. Now what we're going to do is just going to die cut it once again. So we'll grab a piece of white card. Just because we've got this on that pop-up element, I want to make sure it's lovely and strong and stable with that die cut. So we'll just grab another piece of white cardstock there and we'll run that through.
And that's the thing, isn't it? With something like the trophy, you know, it could be, of course, someone's won the trophy at football. They've maybe run a trophy when it comes to running or horse riding, or this is where you've got that essential of that trophy. That, and I know I say this like all the time for those that do watch as well, simply by changing the colours can change the occasion. So whether it's, you know, pinks and purples for the girls who's just done and won at horse racing, or the boys when it comes to the greens and the yellows. I know, of course, boys like horse riding and girls like football as well. But if you're going down that route, simply by changing the colours, it can go for any kind of sport occasion.
Absolutely. I'm thinking as well with this one, Craig, it could be quite playful. It could be like the trophy for, I don't know, the best person at the washing up in the house for your wife. Or it could, you know, just something quite humorous. The trophy for the person in the family with the funniest jokes. You know, something a little bit quirky, a little bit funny. It doesn't always just have to be something that's, I suppose, necessarily...
Trophy for the best person that always cleans their dye out at the end of a demo.
Absolutely. I'll expect one of those on my desk come Monday morning. Yeah, just funny things like that.
Just little ones like that.
Yeah, it's necessarily somebody's actually won a contest, but yeah, lots and lots of options with this one. So we're just going to layer those two together. So going in with my tacky glue onto those detail elements, and we're just going to, rather than drop shadowing, I know I usually do a drop shadow, so I've tried to create a whole card without a drop shadow, which is quite a rarity for me. We're just going to have those flush on top of each other, and that's just going to give that extra little bit of strength with your lovely little trophy there. Thinking as well, you could create a really cute little shaped card, couldn't you?
You could, couldn't you?
How cute would that be? Or it could be like a little place settings for a party or anything like that. That'd be super, super cute. So we've actually got our trophy that's going to stand on this sort of plinth. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut our little pop-out element there. Okay. Rather than raising it up with lots of foam pad layers, you can actually just use your pop-out element so it will actually fall flat there, which makes it nice and easy to post with this one. So we're going to take a piece of our white cardstock. So grab a scrap of white card that we've got here, and we're going to cut this one down to 3/4 of an inch by 4.5. So we'll just find our 3/4. So it's just that sort of first grid line that we've got there is going to be our 3/4. And then we're going to cut it down to 4.5. So 3/4 by 4.5. This thing with cutting sometimes gets a little bit stuck, but there we go. 3/4 by 4.5. And then we'll just grab our scoreboard. So we'll take our Scoremaster once again.
I'm looking forward to seeing how you're going to do this.
Super easy, this one, Craig. This is going to be my new favourite little technique. This you'll see this on lots of cards to come because I was quite pleased.
You'll probably see it on mine as well.
Yeah, probably on all of us.
I'll give you the credit. I'll give you the credit.
Oh, thank you. Give you a trophy. So we're going to score this one at 1.5, and then we're going to score at 2, and then we're going to score at 3.5, and finally we'll score at 4. Now you adapt the size ever so slightly depending on the size of the thing that you're sort of putting it behind, but I just measured sort of at 3/4 of a height will fit nicely behind this. So we're going to have a height of 1/2 an inch there, which is the two 1/2 an inch little pieces we've got there, and then the width there is going to be 1.5. Of course you can adjust that 1.5 if you've got a narrower or wider piece that you're actually popping your pop-out element behind. But all this does is just going to fold round just into like a little box like that. So as simple as that. So all we'll do on this little flap here, on the reverse of that, we'll pop some of our tape pen. You could use your red liner tape as well. And then all we'll do is we'll just fold that up, making sure the end of that is butted up against that score line there. We'll just wrap that over, and then that's going to form that little box there. That will just stick to the reverse of our trophy, and then in turn that will then go onto our topper, and that creates our pop-out element. We'll give you guys at home a few moments just to catch up and make sure you're up to speed if you are crafting along, and then we'll continue with the card in just a few moments' time.
Awesome, brilliant, thank you for that one, Lily. Of course, you can check out the website for that collection, other things going on as well when it comes to the website. Just before we take a little bit of a break, just wanted to recap, of course, for you guys stateside, we have been seeing all your questions coming through regarding, of course, the new tax tariff. There will be a video coming from Sarah just shortly within this day, just to kind of go over it all. So we have seen it, we are on it, and we will cover it in detail just shortly within this day. So while you guys finish off the next steps of your craft along, we'll give you a couple of minutes before we come back, and then we will crack on with the craft along.
Why do I love Crafter's Companion? Well, we got two comedians, Dan and Craig. They're not comedians really, they're brilliant when they do their shows. They're so comical when it comes down to wrestling. I know I took the mick out of Craig with his watch. Said it must have come from a Christmas cracker, but I like his watch. I think it's brilliant. Anyway, I've had to get myself off the floor. I had to use my Burnham Hoover to suck me up off the floor, and I had to use my foam on a roll to keep me secured up so I don't fall over again, because I'm still in shock, because we know Platinum Plus for life. some more Putt Plus. Speak soon.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the crafters' companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty program today and receive 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits to joining Club Inspire include special members-only sales, and you can receive discounts or exclusive access to products, and even free gifts. You will receive 1 point for every pound, dollar or euro that you spend. And the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. See if you can craft your way up to our ultimate Club Inspire tier, Platinum, where you'll enjoy the very best discounts and rewards that we offer. As you keep climbing through the club, you can actually reach Platinum Plus and even Platinum for life. The more points you collect, the more you will be rewarded within our amazing special Club Inspire community. So, what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
Hi everybody, this is Lynn Bledsoe. You asked me why I like or I love Crafter's Companion. Well, it's because I'm not a very good crafter and Crafter's Companion makes me look better. It makes me look like a better crafter than I am because I'm not good at design. So I have the layout collection that helps me with design. I don't like to do the same thing over and over. So I have a template library that gives me lots of new ideas and card bases and things to try. I never know what to put on the inside of the card, so I have the compendiums that have all the sayings for cards, and I never know what color combinations to put together and what goes with what, and so all their collections make it easy for me to know what to do. So that is why I love Crafter's Companion, because they make me look like a better crafter and give me ways to do things that I haven't tried before. Thanks, bye.
Missed your favourite Crafters TV shows this week? Feel like you've missed out on the best crafting deals? Don't worry, we've got you covered. Join us for Second Chance Sunday, your ultimate catch-up on the top 10 deals, demos and must-see moments from the past week. From incredible discounts to inspiring crafting, this is your second chance to grab the best of the best. But hurry, these deals won't last long. Tune in to Second Chance Sunday, only on Crafters TV, because every crafter deserves a second chance.
Put that.
You do know this isn't a real door, don't you?
And of course you're going to have that, well, tomorrow, because it's Sunday, of course. Before we go back to Lily when it comes to the craft along, so many lovely comments coming through. Gillian Denton on YouTube is saying, what a treat it is to see you here on a Saturday, Craig. Thank you. Well, it's lovely being here on a Saturday with all of you guys. As I said at the start of the show, if you weren't at the start of the show, I'm not here next Saturday, so I'm going home to Dogs at Clemmy for the weekend, but then you'll have me for the next few Saturdays afterwards. Mary Beth Doyle is saying, good morning from Minnesota. We've got Crafty Stacey Lou is saying, moving to the big TV, I've paused the cleaning. Well, not paused, not started. Yeah, you don't start cleaning on a Saturday or a Sunday or any weekend. Betty Weaver is saying, last day with you all today because I'm going on vacay tomorrow. She says, not sure how much I'll be able to watch. Well, hopefully you can dot in. If you can't, have a lovely vacation, Betty. I hope you're off to somewhere nice. Lynn Harvey is saying, hi Craig, Lily, the amazing CTV team, the wonderful social media superstars, and everyone. I hope you're all having a lovely day. Well, it's lovely so far. It's myself, it's Lily, it's Jamie, and it's Big Pop Johnny. We're in here today. Colleen saying, good morning, Craig and Lily, watching from Florida. We've also got Crafty Stacey Lewis saying, I've not got this collection, regarding, of course, the craft along, but she's been seeing the Vintage Carnival, which is also a beautiful collection. Daisy Wrench is saying, thanks. Oh, that's, of course, just replying to what we're saying. Stephen Nicole is saying, this set goes well with others, like the Carnival collection. It absolutely does, Stephen. It really, really does. Rachel is saying, looking very snazzy in summary today, Craig. Thank you. I don't think I look too tired just yet. I think I'm all right. I think I'm all right at the moment. A little bit of a long drive back from Redditch last night. Cindy Connie is saying, is it just me? I keep seeing a teacup with the trophy if you cut away the base and just have the handles. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You could do that. You can, yeah. Oh, Betty Weaver is saying, we're off to the German short-haired pointer national. Might try and find a quick trip to the Washington coast as we will be close. Fingers crossed. I hope you do manage to get a hold of that. I'm sure that's maybe something to do with the dogs. Reading between the lines, I think that is, of course, the dogs. Stephanie Theodos is saying, good morning, everyone from Farmdale in New Jersey. And Ash Combo on Facebook is saying, hi all. Well, hi to you. What we're going to do is we're going to dive straight back into the craft along with Lily and see where she left off.
Absolutely. So the stage we've got up to so far is we've created our card base. We've done a little bit of matting layering with those lovely oval nesting dies. We've created our trophy here. So we've die cut a couple of our trophies. So we've laid those together for a little bit more strength with that one. And then we've created our little pop art element here, which will go on the back of our trophy. But before we stick that together, we're going to add our little number one into the centre of the trophy, just to finish it off nicely. So we'll move those out of the way, and we'll bring back in our die sets here. We'll do a little bit of die cutting at the same time to get things a little bit more efficient. So we'll grab our alphabet die set. Now, I was thinking, what three-letter word should I go for? So I went with yay. So we've gone...
Can I just say, they just sniggered in my ear here. Sniggered in my ear, which has just set me off there. So I don't actually know why I'm sniggering there. No, what could you think for the three word? But, you know, cat, dog.
Well, if you said the best cat, best dog, yeah? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, yes, those ones as well.
Johnny, you're 41, mate.
We won't verbalise those, but okay, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of words, but we'll go with yay. We'll keep it nice and nice above board for a Saturday afternoon. My other alternative was woo, but I thought, is woo not the same without the who at the end, so...
Woohoo, yeah.
Woohoo, yeah. But then I thought I'd have to do two lots of bunting. I thought, we'll be all here all day. There'll be no make it Saturday. We'll be too busy cutting out woohoos all throughout the day.
Yay!
So we've got our little number one there on our Y, and then we'll grab our A and our Y from our mirror, and then we'll obviously have to die cut that Y once again. So we'll go in with a couple of those onto that. And then we'll just grab our die cutting plates. Now with both of these, with our letters and our numbers, you've got your sort of stitched embossed detail onto there. So the same sort of idea as we had with our trophy, where you've got that ability to have that embossed features. You've got exactly the same with your alphabet and numbers. It's nice how they both sort of match each other, so you can get that nice sort of coordination between your alphabet and your numbers. So we'll run that through. I'm hoping, because we've got quite thick cardstock that we're die cutting here, it should put in that emboss without running it back through. But we'll have a little look as to whether we need to run it back through.
I love the fact with these, if I take out one of the plate configurations, I get the alphabet bit without the stitch work.
Yeah,
so you've
absolutely
got that best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's nice to have that option,
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
I have to say, I do love a stitched edge, but yeah, it's nice to...
Because it's not a die-cut stitch edge, is it? It's like an embossed stitched edge, isn't it?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and the fab thing with these as well, if you want to, while you've still got that die cut within the die, what you can do is grab your little ink daubers, grab some ink, and you can actually ink through. If you want to...
I never thought that.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, this is something I used to do ages ago, all the time.
This is why I'm on with an expert today.
Well, it's a good job, isn't it? It really is a good job. You can actually use that almost like a stencil, if you like, which is quite a nice little feature. So if you want to bring that to the forefront a little bit more, you can do. So that's our number one. Realise I've just spelled out yeah, or it could be I.
Yeah.
That is why we definitely need to die cut another Y here. I have to say, when I was prepping this the other day, I die cut, instead of die cutting two Ys and an A, I die cut two A's and a Y.
Why?
And I was looking at it and I was thinking, what word was I thinking here? I had 2 A's and a Y, and I thought, what have I done? And I realised I die cut the wrong letter twice. That was why it wasn't quite adding up.
Why did you do that?
Because I'm silly.
She never got
Dear,
that
oh
yet,
dear.
did she? I said it twice and she still never got it.
Oh dear, what's
Where's
right?
Ben? Where's Ben when you need him?
I don't know what my excuse is. You've had a long drive back, I've not. So you could say I was tired, but yeah.
No, but to be fair, you have
Yes.
had a very, very busy week, like a lot of people
That
in here
is
behind the
true.
scenes. So, yes.
That's true. I'll take that's my excuse and I'll run with it. I'll have to try and pay more attention in future. Right. We've definitely got the word yay there. Nice and sorted with that one. So pop our dies back on the sheet there. Always a nice idea, especially with the alphabets. I tend to store mine at home on a magnetic sheet. Just makes it a little bit easier, especially when you've got all those dies in there. So all we'll do now is we'll grab our trophy back in here and we'll take our tacky glue and we'll pop our little number 1 into the centre of our trophy. So we'll just add a little bit of that tacky glue on the back of there. And then we'll just pop that in the centre. You could actually be using a little star if you wanted to pop a star in the centre. Maybe add the little number 1 in the centre of the star. Or you can leave it blank if you choose, but I think it's quite nice just to add that little bit of detail. So we'll just centralise that and then we'll give that a few moments for that glue to grab. We've got our trophy ready to go. We've got our yay all cut out ready. At this point we'll bring in our bunting. So we'll die cut some of our bunting. So with this one you've got your little string as well that's included. So we'll die cut our string from some of our mirror card. So that will go onto there. And then we've got some scraps of our white card and we'll grab this largest size here. Tell you what we'll do, we'll mix it up a little bit. Instead of using 3 of the same, we'll use 3 different shapes because that
Lily.
works quite nice. I know, mixing
Living
it up.
life on the edge,
Going
risky on
rogue.
this Saturday.
Oof, I know, honestly.
You feeling all right?
Well, clearly not, no. After not picking up on your jokes, I must be not all here. Let's mix it up, why not, eh? If it doesn't look
My
right,
good
then
jokes.
we'll try not to look at it too closely, eh, if it don't look quite right. Just to show that I suppose you can mix and match the different shapes.
Well, that's it. You know, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Absolutely. So we're going to use the largest of the 3 there. I find personally with your alphabet, the largest of the bunting flags works best with your alphabet, if you're using the alphabet. Of course, you don't always have to use the alphabet in the centre of those. You could be using your pattern paper instead or just keeping them plain. That choice is yours. So we'll just run that through. So we've got our string that we die cutting from some of that lovely mirror card. And we've got our 3 different shapes of bunting that we die cutting from some of our whites. We can start to build together that nice design.
That bunting die, do you know what that would be good with as well? I had it down and read it the other day. You know our heritage pad, like the gloss and the flock. Can you imagine really nice bunting with that 8x8 pad?
That would be lovely,
pack?
actually. That's a great idea. I love that pad. I think we've still got it in stock. I'm hoping so that we do. I'll tell you what you could do as well, which would be right up my street, when we had the special finish pad in the Wild at Heart. When you had your flock papers in that one, that would work quite nicely. If you want your sort of textured bunting. So we've got our 3 shapes there die cut. So we've got the 3 different shapes there we can just pop out of our die. And then we'll just remove our dies from the cardstock. And I always save my low-tack tape. You always know if I've been using the Gemini, because there's always tons of low-tack tape stuck along the edge there. We don't like to waste that. We like to use it as many times as we possibly can. And then we'll just take our dies and make sure they're nicely stored back on their sheet here.
While you're just doing that, can I throw a couple of questions, Lily, across your way? We've got, it was not a question as such, but it is Daisy is asking, agreed, Craig does look snazzy.
He does.
Derby ready. Where is Lily's derby hat?
I'm a little bit lost, I
Me
have
too.
to say.
Me too.
Oh dear, seems to be a theme of today. I'm
Derby
maybe
hat.
a little bit lost, but okay, I'll take it as a compliment, thank you.
Yes. Donna is saying, where is the pattern paper from that you're using?
Oh, it's from the collection.
Awesome.
Easy as that, you get it included as part of the collection. I'm not sure if whether the showstopper you have 2 of the paper pads. Off the top of my head, you might, but it's definitely from the collection.
And also got, yes, you are absolutely correct. You do, you get 2.
We've got something right today, eh? My one correct fact for the day. There we go. I've exhausted it.
Bless you. Daisy Wrench is also saying, I am so impressed with how straight your plates are. Mine are so warped after a few uses. Any care tips, Lily?
You have to go back to the Craig Laird school of plate, flip and rotate. Put your A, your B, your C and your D on there. Make sure you flip and rotate every time you use it, rather than every time you die cutting in that same corner. Every time, whether you're moving around on that side of the plate, flipping and rotating your plate. You can see on this one, we're literally using every single aspect of that plate, and that should help in terms of your plates being less warped. You can see it's still used, but it's not particularly warped at all. So flip and rotate. That's the top tip. I did show, a few weeks ago, I did show the MIDI plate that I have on my desk in the office after Debbie Fisher was absolutely horrified by it. One of the hinges had gone and it's basically completely and utterly warped, but it still works.
It does.
So we still use them.
We do.
Might not be pretty, but it still does the job.
That's it's the nature of the beast. It will happen over time. So it's not as if you're doing something wrong or that. You know, in some ways, it's well loved and well used.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd hate to come into somebody's craft room and see all these perfect, untouched plates, because obviously then they're not being used, are they?
Don't come into mine or your craft room then.
Well, absolutely. There's some of the state of some of my plates. My goodness me. But
I'm getting
still
to the
work.
point. I had a good sort out, of course, the other month there.
Oh.
I'm kind of having to do a little top up of a sort out soon.
Oh, I tell you, Craig, I need to sort out my craft room, but finding the time at the moment is not quite so easy, is it?
To be fair, there's worse problems to be having.
Well, yeah, absolutely there is. But there's a lot of goodies coming up that all need to be put away.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
So just waiting to make sure that all of those have grabbed. Just with it being tacky glue, obviously just take a few moments for that to stick. If you wanted that instant stick to have with your letters, make sure you're using a dotty tape pen. That's a little bit more instant than using your tacky glue. But once it's dried, you know it's going to be dried nice and firm. So we'll move those out of the way. We'll bring back in our card base and we'll bring in our string. Now, the way I tend to work with this is I'll sort of position the string where I'm thinking I want it onto my card.
Sorry.
And then I'll just lay out my bunting onto here, just to make sure I'm happy with the positioning before I actually stick down that string there.
Okay, can I just quickly show this,
You all right,
Lily?
Craig?
Kentucky Derby hats.
Oh gosh, okay.
So I've just gone into Google to search.
Oh wow!
Can you imagine you, Lily?
Can you imagine me trying to craft with one of them on?
Can you imagine? How awesome!
Wow.
We should do that. Yeah.
Do you know what we should do? Did you used to do when you were younger an Easter bonnet competition?
That's
at school?
right. Yeah.
We should do a Kentucky Derby Easter bonnet, which can all make our own little bonnets. We'll walk around the studios having a little bit of a parade, showing off our hats. That'd be quite fun, that.
It was Daisy saying, "Oh, you must go and Google it," and Jamie's just said, "Craig, please go and Google it."
Wow. Now there's some hats, that's for certain.
Very, very much so.
Can you imagine me walking into the studio looking like that, coming down the
Ben.
main road? My goodness me.
Yeah.
Dear,
Funny,
oh dear.
yeah. Actually, Ben would be used to that sort of thing with costumes and that. Both him and George.
They'd love it, wouldn't they?
They would love it.
They would.
They would.
Well, we'll have to plan it in our Kentucky Derby Day.
So if I start to see for like photo shoot invite come through to you over the next couple of weeks.
Maybe that invite that you had as of the last week was actually for that.
That's right, yeah.
Little did you know you'd be wearing a hat like that. Who knew, eh? Who knew? So I've just stuck my string on there. I will trim the edges off once it's dried, just to give that glue a little bit of a chance to dry. And I'm just taking my poke tool and I'm just going to shape the edges of our bunting just like so. So just rolling that over a little bit. You can use something like a pencil or a pen.
Right,
just anything that's got that sort of like rounded barrel to it, just so you can give that little bit of shape and movement to your bunting. And then we'll stick those onto our string there. So before we stick them down, just so it's a little bit easier to position them, we'll trim the ends off. So just turn your card over. Makes it a little bit easier to see where you need to trim down, and then just trim the edges just like so. And then we'll grab our foam tape and we'll take our foam tape and we'll just add a little bit, rather than adding it all over the back of there, we'll just have a little length that will pop at the top of our bunting there, just so we can have that shape at the bottom. It's still going to keep its shape by just adding our adhesive onto that top line of all three of those letters. So just going in with your foam tape tabs or pads would work perfectly with this as well. So we'll just take that tape and then we'll just, before I stick it down, I'll just lay them all out just to make sure that that spacing is nice and even onto there. And then once I'm happy with where they're all positioned.
It's a nice even way to do it, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm like for symmetry. I like everything to be sort of symmetrical and in the right place. It just makes it a little bit easier.
And this is where, if anyone is relatively new to us at Crafters TV, when it comes to myself and Lily, you'll see a lot of similarities between myself and Lily. The way they craft, the way that we do layouts, we very much are, well, symmetrical in the way that we craft.
I think out of all of us, Craig, I think us two are probably the most similar in terms of style, I'd say, probably. Out of us all. We were saying before the show that we all do have slightly different styles. You could probably sort of, if you lined up all our cards,
that's it,
it's a little bit of a lineup, you could probably tell whose is whose with all of us. So that's our bunting all on there. It's nice to have that little bit of shape to the bottom of the flag, so it just adds a little bit of a nice finishing touch. So in terms of sticking our little pop-up element onto here, I find it easier to stick it onto the actual element first and then onto the card. So all we'll do is you can add some adhesive onto there using your tape pen, using your red liner tape. Anything that's a nice strong adhesive is going to do the job quite nicely for this one. So we grab our tape pen, just on the back of there, up to that score line there. So it's just going to be on that section there. So we'll turn that over and we'll just stick that onto the reverse of our trophy, just making sure that's nice and level onto there. And then we'll make sure we've got that nice little burnish, just so it's stuck down.
Do you know what that mechanism is a nice replacement for? Remember when you used to want to have, for one for a better word, the boingy effect? You used to take strips of cardstock and you'd like concertina themselves on each other. This is like a nice, simple, stripped back version of that.
Absolutely. I tell you, Craig, it's funny you say that, because I wasn't originally going to do this as a boinger, but then I thought a boinging trophy don't quite make sense. So I thought, well, I'll just have a pop out. I tell you what would work quite nicely if you use the aeroplane die in this set and doing that on a little boinger.
Oh,
that would work quite nice. Have like a little boingy aeroplane.
Or if you're lucky enough to have things like our penny slider collections and that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that will work amazingly well with that aeroplane die set. So we've got our trophy in the middle there. Nice how we've got that pop-up element, but it is still going to fall flat for posting. But we'll bring in another of the die sets now. So we'll move that out of the way, and we'll grab our medal die set, just because I wanted a little bit of a finishing touch, just to finish this off quite nicely. So we've grabbed that lovely little star die. It's going to be a really useful die to have in your crafty stash this star. I'm sure you'll be using it time and time again, just for those lovely little finishing touches and embellishments. So we'll grab a little scrap of that mirror card, and we'll tape our star just onto that mirror card, and we'll die cut this twice from that mirror card, just to give us those little embellishments to add to our project. So rather than using the star in the centre of the medal, you can use it totally separately, and you can use it with lots of other elements in the collection as well. Anything that's sort of celebratory, like a congratulations card, you could use it with the graduation cap as well that's in the set. That would work quite nicely. Just as a little bit of a finishing touch. So we've die cut our first one there. So I'll leave that to one side, and then we'll just die cut another one there from our cardstock. So I'll just cut that piece away, because you have to remember, every time you're running cardstock through your die cutting machine, if it's the waste, it's the potential that it can get a little bit marked. Because obviously with the wear and tear of your plate, it can get a little bit marked, especially with your mirror card. So I always say, run through the amount of cardstock that you need, rather than running through a large piece of cardstock and just die cutting a small bit. I always try and cut my cardstock down to just about the right size, so you're not running through more cardstock than you need to. So we'll move our plates out of the way. So that's our die cutting done with the star. So, and just to finish it off, because there's only one star in this die set, what I thought I would do is I bring in one of our little star punches, and this is actually the one that came with the paper plate collection. So you had, I think it was a star, a heart, a little circle.
Yeah.
And this is just a little bit smaller than the one that we've die cut. And we're just going to punch a couple of these out of our mirror cardstock, just to finish it off. So we'll grab a couple of them, just like so. And then we'll bring back in our card base, and we'll position our stars. So we've got sort of a larger star coming out that way first, and then we'll have the smaller star next to it, just to sort of finish it off nicely. So we'll grab some of our tape pen just in the centre of the star, where we've got a larger area where our tape pen will go nicely. And then just on the points there, where it's a little bit finer, we'll go in with our tacky glue, but we should still have that instant grab from having our tape pen on there as well. So that's just going to fit onto there. And then we'll just take our smaller one, a little bit of tacky glue in the centre. Great thing about your tacky glue as well, if you want to sort of manoeuvre that around, if you're not entirely happy with where you've stuck that down, first of all, you've got that ability to just manoeuvre that into position until it's exactly where you want it to be. And we'll do the same on the other side. Once again, a little bit of symmetry. So we've got a couple of stars on that top right-hand side, exactly the same sort of idea on that bottom left-hand side. So you've got that symmetry, you've got that sort of drawing your eye into the centre, where you've then got your trophy in the middle. Got a couple of little stars on the right-hand side. And then in terms of symmetry, obviously we've got our detail on that top left, got the detail on the other two corners. We need something in that bottom right-hand corner. So at this point, we'll bring in our sentiment stamps. And you've got lots and lots of different sentiments for lots of different occasions in this one. So whether you're going to be doing something like for graduation, even for passing your driving test, which is something nice and a little bit different as well, which is going to work perfectly. And you've got all these different occasions that you can cater for with this one. But we'll grab the You Did It, and we'll take that onto some of our white cardstock, and I'll bring in our stamping platform. And it's totally up to you whether you prefer to cut down your cardstock first and then stamp, or stamp and then cut it down afterwards. I don't know about you, Craig, do you tend to cut your card down after your sentiments, or do you tend to stamp on exact sized piece?
Do you know something?
All different.
It depends. It's 50-50.
Ah.
Sometimes I will cut to my precise size, then stamp. Sometimes I'll just go in and then I will then stamp, then trim afterwards.
Yeah, just depending on where the mood takes you, I suppose, yeah.
Well, that's it. That's exactly. I think as well, when, you know, if we're prepping at home, we kind of get into that flow and that rhythm.
Yeah.
And sometimes we automatically do things without thinking about it.
Yes.
And that is just one. I'll just either automatically take my card and stamp, or I will stamp and then die cut. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just horses for courses, whatever you find easiest. I'd say, especially if you're a new crafter, give it a go in the different ways. So try by cutting your cardstock down to size first, and then stamping, and trying the other way. Whatever works best for you.
That's exactly it, 100%.
It's the right way, really, I suppose you could say.
Yep.
So we'll move that out of the way, and then we'll just take our trimmer here, and we'll just trim this down to size. No particular size, just what's going to sort of fit nicely in terms of the sizing of the sentiment, rather than to a specific measurement. So we'll trim that down. It's got a little border all around the edge there, and then we'll just trim down on the other side. Of course, you could use your trimmer if you find it easier to use a paper trimmer, and then by all means you can use your paper trimmer for something like this. So we'll just trim that down, and then I'll grab my piece of, got a little scrap here, it might fit onto this. We'll have a little look. Ah, yes, there we go, just about.
Nice.
Nothing going to waste, as per usual. So we'll grab our tape pen here, just making sure the lid's on that, because I don't want to pop my elbow into the ink pad. Would not be a great end to the craft along, would it?
No, definitely not.
Oh dear, we've all been there.
I've done it with my wrist before, yeah.
Oh, I know, the amount of times I've done it. So it's sort of on the side of your hand.
That's
and
it, yep.
You're making something, you think, oh, where's all that ink come from? And it's all over your hands.
All over.
Not the best, so we'll try and avoid that one at all costs. And we'll just trim this to probably about an 1/8 inch larger, little border all around the edge of our sentiment.
Colleen is saying, great tip, Lily, about running the mirror paper through the machine. Never thought about that.
Thank you.
And Cynthia, bless you, thank you, saying, Craig, I love you on the presenter side, focusing on the crafters' questions, the wonderful demonstrations and inspirations from Lily. Also sell the products. Thank you very much, Cynthia.
It's been a while since you've done any presenting.
It has, yeah, it has been a good wee while. I am presenter for the full week at the end of the month.
Oh, you are,
I think
yes.
Ben's got
another
a week's
holiday.
break.
As per
He's got
usual.
that coming up. So so I think, as it stands at the moment, I know you just sent the schedule out, I'm Monday to Friday that week.
You are?
Stepping in for Ben. And most of that week, bar the Friday, it's myself and Debbie Robinson.
It is.
So we were just talking about that when we caught up the other night there. So, so yeah, that would be lovely. I think I might have the odd one on this side as well between them.
Yeah, I think for the weekends, I think you're
That's
on
right,
the other side for a few, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Always love the demonstration side, but so every now and again, it's nice. We say it quite a lot. It's nice to pop on this side, because then get to work with you or the two Debbies, which is nice.
Oh,
But
it's nice to mix it up, isn't it?
It's nice.
To
It is
change
nice.
Up. There we go.
Oh,
all
look at
done
that,
in time.
Lily.
Phew. There we go. And I have to say, the different shaped bunting, I quite like that. I think it quite works quite nicely. So with your pop-up element, of course, you can fold that flat. But any of you guys at home, if you crafted along, please do make sure you shared photos as well. We love to see what you guys create. And I hope you enjoyed making that using that fabulous Celebrate the Good Times collection.
Awesome, thank you for that one, Lily. Whether you want to then, of course, recreate that again, or maybe you just love to watch first and recreate afterwards, whether, of course, it's this craft along or any of our Crafters TV live shows, you can always go back and re-watch them whenever you want. Just go across on Crafters Companion YouTube channel, maybe start to create your own little bit of a playlist as well, whether, of course, set shows that you like, or specifically, of course, the craft alongs. Always remember as well, you don't even have to use the products that Lily was using there. You could do what Lily's done, but then just alternate it and use Vintage Carnival if you want to. It's entirely up to you, but you can use whatever you want when it comes to the craft alongs. Have a look on the website, whether it's this collection, your adhesive, all these extras, you'll find them there when it comes to .co.uk.com. staqmp.eu. But for today, that is us now at the end of this live show when it comes to this craft along. But what we have got is Make It Saturday. You guys know by now, probably better than me, what we've got coming up within the actual Make It Saturday. So myself and Lily, Jamie and Pickpock Johnny, we are going to be back later on with some lovely goodies, some lovely inspiration as well from Lily. Do we have a craft clinic this week? We do.
Water reactive ink pads.
Ink pads?
Water reactive ink pads. Your favourite, especially
My
for
favourite.
Craig.
There we go, right. Be getting my questions in when it comes to the ink pads. Right here, if you're watching live, we're going to be back when it comes to an hour and 5 minutes time for Make It Saturday. So grab your lunch, your breakfast, cup of tea, and we'll all see you then. See ya.